we want to touch upon at this moment here. Again, as I said, we give thanks for Radio Anu International. We're talking about the universal spice, the international flavor. And as I said, we have been going through in the morning up until now, talking about 8 o'clock in the evening and hitting until midnight. And again, let me just give enough respect to all those who came through. Give thanks for the man Ija staff, for sure. We give thanks to the Honorable Empress Naya. We give thanks for the Honorable Empress Natural that also spent some time with us. Very wonderful reasoning. We give thanks to Brother Akim Pierre that also came through with a great strength. The Honorable Prophet Rasdre representing Rastafari Experience Antigua. With a great joy as well. We also had with us the presence of we also had with us the presence of the ever oh my, pardon me for the thought there. Yes, but we had some testimonies. That's what I was looking for, from some wonderful, people who were giving their testimony as it relates to our homeschool program, etc., etc. So it was a wonderful day. Of course, this was the official. This is, as we're still going, the official launch of Radio Anu, and also the official launch of our website, priestisaacinstitute.com. And of course, as I said, you have to have your own platform when you do the kind of stuff that we do, for sure. So we're thankful of that. And it was also our first annual, Patrons Day. Well, the first of an event which will become annual, Patrons Day, where we invite everyone to come in and partake of what we have to offer in our shop and in our store. And at the same time, you yourself, will definitely get a proper special offer, what people call a deal, but I try not to use the term deal for what we have to offer. But anyway, everyone knows what is taking place. Everyone has an idea where we are. And we are in the Tiger's Nest now, a special edition of the Tiger's Nest. And what I wanted to speak of this evening was the mission of Emperor Haile Selassie I. Basically, the mission of the king. This is a term we use, the mission of the king. In fact, throughout the day, we have been using our slang, our term for the day was victory again, which is the chorus we've been using throughout the day. Victory again, victory again. Rastafari, King Emmanuel, win them, victory again. And so we have been utilizing that specific chorus, and the way it has been put together by the Honorable Kes Westmore at the beginning, it speaks about the mission of the king. You understand? So we decided to entitle our address this evening, "The Mission of the King," or basically the mission of Emperor Haile Selassie I. How I would like to begin is with the reading of a scripture here. And this is coming from the book of Exodus, Exodus chapter 17. And I think I would, read from the 8th verse thereabout. And this is a story. This is when Moses and the children of Israel, when they left from, I think it was the wilderness of sin, and they had some water troubles, some water woes. And, the Lord came in, and this is when they hit the rock. This is when they hit the rock, and the rock gushed out water for them, and everyone drank and was happy. So we are here now, and after they left there, they were on another mission, and they came across the Amalekites, and that is where I want to pick up the story from the 8th verse. And it says here, "Then came Amalek and fought with Israel in Rephidim. And Moses said unto Joshua, choose us out men to go out and fight with Amalek. Tomorrow I will stand on the top of the hill with the rod of God in my hand. So Joshua did as Moses had said to him and fought with Amalek. And Moses, Aaron, and Hur went up to the top of the hill. And it came to pass when Moses held up his hand that Israel prevailed. And when he let down his hand, Amalek prevailed. But Moses' hands, were heavy. Mhm. And they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat thereon. And Aaron and Hur stayed up his hands, the one on the one side, and the other on the other side, and his hand were steady until the going down of the sun. And Joshua discomfited Amalek and his people with the edge of the sword. And it says here, and the Lord said unto Moses, write this for a memorial in the book and rehearse it in the ears of Joshua, for I will put out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven. And Moses built an altar and called the name of it Jehovah Nissi. And he said, because the Lord had sworn that the Lord will have war with Amalek from generation to generation. Wow. The Lord has sworn, Rasta, that he going to be fighting with them people here from generation to generation. Wow. All right. So basically, I think you understand that story there. Amalek is a tribe of people really fighting against the children of Israel. They really have always had their battles. And now you have a story where you have Joshua, the mighty warrior Joshua, and Moses telling Joshua, well, listen, man, go and get the top generals as such, the choice men, and go out and battle Amalek. I have it covered. And Moses now went up to the hilltop, and he went up with Aaron and Hur. Her is not a female, Hur is a man, Hur, her. He went up with Aaron and Hur. And when they went to the top of the mountain, he said Moses, just all Moses had to do was lift his hands up. All Moses had to do was lift up his hands with the rod in his hand, to stretch it out. And Joshua and the soldiers would be winning the war. That's all he had to do. But that's easy. What do you think, family? That's an easy thing. If all Moses had to do was just keep his hands up while the war was going on, and we would win the war, that's a piece of cake. Yeah. Mm. But what it was now, is that every war is the war of Dogali. Is not every war is finished in 5 and 15 minutes, etc. Some wars go for days. Some wars go for months. Some wars go for years. So Moses now, which obviously Moses would have been a strong man, but after a while, sometime, the fatigue and the pressure came on the hands or the arms, really. And it says that when his arms would have fell, that the Israelites would begin to lose the battle. But when his arms were risen high, the Israelites would be winning the battle. This is some interesting stuff because now Moses is a man, a human being. Just like when we say our creed and we lift up our hands, yes, we may be accustomed, but sometimes when people are not accustomed, that's a tough thing to have their arms stretched out for so long, to have their hands stretched out for such a lengthy time if you're not accustomed. But again, Moses is a strong man. But then still, no matter how strong you are, it's only a matter of time when Moses would have to take some level of rest. Follow me, good family. And yeah, because he can't keep it up forever. But the thing is now, when his hands got heavy and he dropped it, you know, the Amalekites would prevail. I saw this on the movie. I think it's the same Ten Commandments movie. And if I'm not mistaken, I can remember it clearly. When them fellas was on the hill, I think it's the Ten Commandments. I remember it clearly, but I think it's the Ten Commandments movie. And the camera was showing you Moses and her and Aaron from the back parts. And I remember Moses, the character playing Moses, his hands were up in the air, and it's like the wind was blowing, and you could see Joshua and the army down in the valley fighting. Blah, 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 blah. And his hands would get tired, his arms got tired in the movie I'm speaking of. But in the movie, I could clearly remember them showing you Aaron and her literally coming and lifting up his arms. If I'm not mistaken, I can't remember them putting a stone, but that's a movie, you know. But still, in the scripture, it says that they placed a stone so he could keep up his hand. But at the same time, what it is, it's still symbolic of them assisting him to keep up his hand. That's really the moral of the story. That Aaron, that's the brother of Moses, who may not know the story, and the high priest, and her, another great noble within the tribes of Israel. They came with Moses to the top of the mountain. Now, whether they lift up their hands or not, that had nothing to do with what was taking place down there in the battlefield. Whether they lift up their hands or not had nothing to do with what was taking place in the battlefield. It was Moses' arms that needed to be lifted up. And if his arms and hands drop, woe be unto the people down there. So Aaron and her had to assist him to keep his hands up. Family. So, the Bible is a mystic book too, If you notice a lot of programs that we have done, you could really use a lot of these stories, man, and extract some real moral values out of them. I am telling you. This is just one of them where there's such a high moral value in the concept of the storyline, especially if you apply it to reality. But before we apply it, you know, I was saying earlier that one of the main responsibilities of a follower of the Most High, if not one of the, maybe the main responsibility of a disciple of Christ, is that he or she is to, make sure that the gospel, that the word goes out throughout the earth. There's a hymn that says that, go ye to all the earth and teach the gospel, and lo, I will be with you always. So when you penetrate that, and that's actually a commandment, that's a commandment given unto the followers of the Most High, the followers of Christ, the disciples of Christ, that their mission, the main mission of the disciples of Christ, is to spread the gospel. Now, I know some people could say, well, the gospel is the ghost spell and all of that. I know that. That's not the level of discussion I'm having. I just using the term because that's where the phrase comes from. The point is, as a follower of Christ, a follower of the Most High, as a follower of the truth, it doesn't have to be religious, it doesn't even have to be spiritual. As the follower of anything that is the truth, even if it's veganism, once it's the truth and it's the saving truth, especially if it's the main truth, well, then you specifically who understand that should be doing everything in your power to get that message of that truth as far as it can goes without borders. Yeah, that's it. So, in a more theological sense, if an individual considers himself or herself a follower of the truth, a follower of God, a follower of the Most High, a follower of Christ, then he or she should make it, at least how I see it, their business to make sure the message that they consider the message that saved them, they should make sure that message gets out to save as much as it can save. So if there's a specific message that came to you when you were in quicksand, sinking deep in sin, so far and all of that to stay in and all of that to sinking deep within. And then the master of the sea heard your despairing cry. And then he came and rescued you, and said, "Here am I." So that love that lifted you out of the miry clay, brother and sister, that salvation order, whatever you may think it is, that removed you from the sinking sand. And you know that, hey, this is what saved me. Hey, this is the truth. Hey, this is what gave me life again. I think it's your responsibility to make sure that this truth and this life, you know, gets to as much ears as possible, to as much hearts as possible, to as much souls, minds as possible, because it's the truth. And it's not just no regular truth, it's the absolute truth. Because the followers of Christ now, they have the absolute truth. Because I mean, listen to me, family. I want you to hear me good, eh? Please listen to your brother. Please, please. They have a lot of different levels of truth. And they have a lot of people that, distribute this truth. Once it's not a lie, it's the truth. A man could be selling you toothpaste that can make your teeth whiter than a polar bear. And that may be the truth. It may be all natural too. And that's his mission, to go around the world and preach the gospel of the toothpaste that can make your teeth white. That's his truth. And it's not a lie. You know what I mean? It's not a lie. It works. And it's all natural. If you're hungry, you can eat it too. It works. Yeah, that's how real it is. And that's his truth. He's not doing nothing wrong. But that's not the type of truth I'm talking about. No. They even have some truths that are even more, you may say, significant. You know, as a researcher and a historian, you know, you have researched, the ancient civilization of Sumer. You have researched the civilization of Kemet. You have your facts and your stats correct. You know who built what when. You know who built what where, and who was the king of this dynasty and that dynasty, and whose wife was this and that. You know it good. You study it. Whether you have degrees or not, you know it well. And you've made that your craft, and you've made that your order, and you've made that your truth, and you take that truth and you spread it to the world. You write books, you do radio interviews, you have your own radio program called Return to the Motherland. And it is the truth. It's a deep truth, you know. To me, it's more the type of truth I love more than the toothpaste. The toothpaste is okay. And it's the truth too. But the motherland and everything, boy, that's a certain level of truth. And when you know that's the truth, you should be definitely expressing that to the world. But then there's another level of truth, the absolute truth. I consider that the absolute truth. And what is the absolute truth? To me, the absolute truth is, right, I noticed that every animal family, every animal, even the trees and plants, they have a specific order that they live by. Even plants, they have some flowers that open when the sun come up and close when the sun go down. They have some flowers that open when the moon full and close when the moon is waning down or waxing down, whichever one it is. They're living by nature. You may say, oh, they're just clockwork robots. Well, but animals too. Animals exercise a different level of free will than a plant. Animals have a level of free will too. A dog can decide to go down the road and change his mind and turn back around. You never see a dog change his mind. I see dog running and they stop and just change their mind and go back home. So the dog does have a certain level of free will, but the dog still acts in a specific way that was given to it by nature. A dog, a cockroach is a cockroach. You know what I mean? What else you have? Mosquito is a mosquito. They eat what they're supposed to eat. They drink what they're supposed to drink, unless you put them in a zoo. They go where they're supposed to go. They mate when they're supposed to mate. They're all in an order. It is the human being alone. It is the human being alone as the animal, the intelligent animal, that is totally out of whack. Everybody doing what they want. Yeah, man. That we take the free will to, you don't see where the thing reach. People arguing and fighting about abortion and so now and all sorts of different queer things and all of that. This is where it reach. That's where it reach. So I'm saying that the Almighty Creator, the intelligent nucleus, what people call God, must have a specific way, a specific order on this planet that he and she, because it's a balance, desires human beings to live by. No, man, it only makes sense. It only makes sense. You can't just tell me, oh, well, it's just love. I agree it's love, but love is not just talking. Love is not L and O and V and E. No, no, no. No, that's not how the love thing go. When you live the order of God, you really live in love. So for me now, my order is the Bobo Shanti order of the Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edward specifically. I see that specifically as the said order of the Almighty that he intends human beings to live by. You understand? So this is why in everything that you see I do, I make it my business to make sure the word of Rastafari gets out four winds universal. This is the point I'm making. That is the work of a disciple of Christ, to make sure that the gospel of the said Christ goes throughout the world four winds universal. I only said all what I said to show you that there's a reason why the disciples should do that, because they comprehend the importance of the word. The same word that saved them is the same word that can save someone else. So don't put it in a jar and lock it up. Don't throw it in the closet. You should also make sure that you do what you can do to make sure that word goes out throughout the world. You understand? That is why I'm showing you people put effort in making sure other things go out throughout the world. Whether it's music, people put effort in making sure their music go out throughout the world. People put effort in making sure their artwork go out throughout the world. People put effort in making sure whatever ideas they have go out throughout the world. So imagine those of us who know the truth, not the toothpaste truth, not the archaeological truth. Imagine those of us who know the absolute truth. Stick a pin. Imagine those of us, I'm going to repeat, not the toothpaste truth. That is the truth. But that's not what we're talking about. Not even the truth about what type of stone was used to build Ramesses the sixth temple. That's some big stuff. You know, I love that stuff. But they have truth that on another level than that. Man, you can know all of that and miss the absolute truth. Eh? You could know all of that stuff and miss the absolute truth. So those of us who at least believe that you have the absolute truth should be doing your utmost best to make sure that this absolute truth goes out throughout the world. The main work of a disciple or duty is to make sure that the gospel of the same Christ goes forwards universal. So those of us who brag and boast that, well, yeah, man, Selassie is my God. Okay. Yeah, man, to play with the king and all of this stuff. What are we doing to make sure? Now, don't get me wrong, there's so many things that we have responsibility over. This is just one aspect. That's why I believe that education is key, just like how the emperor held the reins of the minister of education for years upon years after the war. He didn't let it go because the minister of education and the minister of defense, he didn't let go these two posts because he understood the importance of education. We talk a lot about reparation. Reparation means to what? To repair the nation. Please follow me, family. This is a serious conversation. Reparation means to repair the nation. And the first step in repairing nation is to debrief the nation and get all the gunk and rubbish out of their minds and start to edify them with the right information. Because when you're taking the gunk and rubbish out of their belly and their body, which is good and necessary, and that helps to free up the mind too. But at the same time, you need a good thinking mind, because some of us, our mind got free before we took the gunk out of us. So your mind can get free, you understand? So you free up the mind with the truth. You free up the mind with right knowledge and right information, and get all the lies out, all the propaganda out, all the misinformation that they've been giving us, so we can hate our black self. So that we could hate our black self. Remember, all of that is a part of the plot. All the so-called knowledge and so that they've trained us with is so that we could hate our black self and have some sort of love for Christopher Columbus. So we gotta rewire ourselves. You have to take people and rewire them, actually make them new human beings, to get ready and to come out into the world to balance off into this thing here. So this is why it is necessary for the gospel to reach the four winds universal. However you get it done. There are many ways of getting things done. The toothpaste man, he's very innovative. He's either selling it online or he's going door to door. Maybe he has reached to a point where he's jumping on a plane every weekend and he gone to a different island where he whatever. He has his manufacturing business in many different countries. Whatever stage he's at, he took a time to reach to that stage. But the point is, he was bent on getting his toothpaste around the world. The man that takes dozens of people every year back to Ethiopia and Egypt, he didn't just start like that. Nah, man. He in this about 30, 40 years. As a young apprentice, he used to go there with the grandmasters, and he had to take time and time to learn the science and learn the art. But he was bent. He was positive that his mission is to learn this stuff here in Egypt, learn about the pyramids, and one day he gonna be bringing people back here and teaching them about it. That's why he has so many pictures that he took with thousands of people that he already brought back to Egypt and Ethiopia all through the days, the decades, So he's spreading his message his way. Again, those of us who have the absolute truth, we even spread other things more than the absolute truth that we have. Some of us work for companies. Some of us work for companies. We promote the company more than we promote the absolute truth. Now, I know there's someone listening saying, but brother, listen, I hear what you're saying, but we don't have the time to do that. We don't have the time like you to do that. The time like me. What are you talking about? The time like me, I ain't got no time to do nothing. Is a time. There's something I have that you may not have that make me do what I do, but trust me, it is not the time. That is an excuse. Time. The same thing that saved you is what gives you the time. And you don't have the time to make sure that you invest time in getting the word of that salvation order out to the world, when that specifically is considered to be the main mission of an individual that considers themselves a follower of Christ. So now, again, I want me to say, but brother, I'm listening to you, and I get your point, because the point is well made. Yeah, you're right. But all right, you're right, brother. You are totally correct. But everybody can't do what you do, what I do. No, I never tell nobody to do what I do. I do what I do. You supposed to do what you do. You understand? I do what I do. Listen, I tell you right, the first time I see King Emmanuel, it was on a vehicle there for the Honorable Priest Kushiba. I was a young child. I had to be between, I can't even remember, it was 10 to 12, somewhere around there. And remember, Priest Kushiba is an artist. So Priest Kushiba would have his bus and his bug and his Volkswagen painted up with the red, gold, and green, and Marcus Garvey and King Emmanuel. That's how he is. Them kind of man where they live, the place paint down, whatever they drive in, you have to know Rastafari coming. You check it. Now, because of him taking time to express the truth in that art form, I had an early encounter with the faith that I would eventually grow into and become an integral part of universally, which is this order of the Black Christ King Emmanuel Charles Edwards. I tell you, I stand up for minutes watching the picture. It wasn't a painting, this was a picture in the window of the van. And I watched the picture, the same picture in the front of the Black Supremacy, and I watched the picture of King Emmanuel. At that time, I don't know Priest Kushiba. I never met him. He must have been somewhere in the craft market or wherever selling his craft. But his thing was parked on the side of the road. It was a regular day, people going up and down, bustling up the town. And I watched the picture and say, like, who is this man? But what I'm just showing you, you know, because of the way he expressed himself, many would have passed and see that, just like me. But I took note, you know, I took note in the same way that even the way we carry ourselves as an example to the world. People will pass and take note. Some will take note and some will follow and some will just pass it by, But even being a living example is a good way of spreading the gospel. Just to be a living example is a good way of spreading the gospel. But still, family, there's no better way than literally strategizing. Listen to me, eh? I don't mean just chatting. There's no better way than literally strategizing, creating a plan, you know, to reach the ears of the young and the old alike in the way that is palatable to them. Yeah, man does be saying the bonfire and this and bonfire and that, and then I listening to radio because they're playing this and playing that. You playing around. King Emmanuel already teach you, put the food where the children can reach it. But some of you miss that. That's why enough children can't reach it. Because we don't put the food where the children can reach it. So all of that is strategy. So the fact that you're sitting down trying to think how to reach the children, that means you want the gospel to get out. You have books, you have magazines, you have articles. King Emmanuel would write in the newspaper all the time. Enough Bobo, listen to me. Enough Bobo man say they learn about King Emmanuel by going through the paper. And they say, they read this thing or they were listening to the radio station and they hear King Emmanuel, on the radio station and they wanted to become a part of that, you know in the same way. Me personally, I could tell you, 2+ decades earlier today, Rasdre was with us. 2+ decade family, I could tell you, we doing this work. And I'm sure, you know, it might be in the hundreds, man. But I know personally, I would say scores of people. I know scores of people that I can point and say it is because of uh, a word, not a word, but you know, because of my expression, why ones would have taken up the faith of Rastafari. Now, don't get me wrong, and even I coming in as Rastafari, there were several people that influenced me. So you'll have different influences. So it's not like if but I know I have a sort of knockout punch, right? Trust me, that wake you up. I have a knockout punch that wake you up. I don't just influence you, man. When I come and you listen to me for at least an hour, when I done, you have to say, well, yeah, man, I think I get the thing straight now. Straight up. So because of that, because of that authoritative presentation, knowing that I know what I'm saying, many ones has been inspired then, if you want to say, and have taken up the art of Rastafari, locks the hair, do all kind of different things that they say, stop wear pants, all kind of things people tell me just because of how it come across, man. Bingy man hold the fate of Bobo Shanti, you know what I mean? Bingy man that fell away, go back to the Bingy faith, just and tell me that, they're the ones that tell me, say, well, boy, my lord, I have to show you, it's true. The videos that make me return to this or through you on the radio, so and so and so and so. So I'm just giving you that testimony. It's not nothing I'm making up, In fact, if I really talk, you may feel that I'm boasting. Yeah, check it. So I know for sure I can talk for myself that I make it personally, I make it my duty to spread that gospel, Four Winds Universal. I make it my duty to make sure that that message reach to, who it's supposed to reach to. Give me a pen there. That's very, very important for I. So again, that's why we strategize. That's why we plan. That's why we have different modes, courses, classes, lectures, books, webinars, seminars, documentaries, YouTube videos, all of these are part of the plotting. Nothing happened by chance, no mistake. Institute, radio programs, radio station, school programs, essay competition, art competition, cooking competition. This ain't no joke. And I'm telling you, we sit and strategize this over the years. There's always something new in the mind to do. Even now, speaking to you, there are different ideas just waiting to get on stage. And it's all about making sure the world know Rastafari and what Rastafari stand for and what Rastafari entails and what Rastafari defends. And I'm not telling nobody that they're supposed to do what I do. Everyone is different. I know what I come to do. If you know what you come to do, you just got to know. But one thing I know, no matter what you come to do, the mission of all of us is to make sure that the gospel is spread to the four winds universal, to the four corners of the globe. Now hear this, This is very important. Because a man may say again now, okay, so the individual that has the megaphone and goes up to the top of the mountain, and the individual now that is on the top of the mountain, he himself, the megaphone that he carries up, he goes to the top of the mountain and he speaks the truth and everyone hears the truth. All right, good, fair enough. Now, you may not have the ability to go up to the top of the mountain like him with no megaphone and say a thing. Maybe you can't say what he has to say. Maybe you can't say it how he has to say it. Whatever the case is. But you can make sure that the megaphone is not only in order, but he has a proper megaphone that could reach double the mileage where that megaphone reaches. Then now, you also have a situation where getting to the top of the hill maybe is a case where you could supply the means and ways for him or her to get to the top of the hill and the megaphone and whatever else is needed so that when he or she reach to the top of the hill, they have the megaphone ready, everything else is ready, and all they have to do is speak the truth that you believe that you can't do because they're made to do it. Now, just hold on. If it sounds complicated, I'm going to straighten down. For those who got what I'm saying, what you just did there is your share of spreading the gospel. If you know for sure, especially coming out of your mouth, that you see an institution, an individual, whatever it is, that is effectively spreading the truth, the absolute truth. No mockery here. Not the toothpaste truth, Not the pyramid truth, believe it or not, but the absolute truth. And you can say to yourself, well, I'm comfortable, because them people there spreading the truth. These people over here have the truth too, But you see, this truth, this is the salvation truth. This is the same truth that saved my life. It's King Emmanuel they're talking about. It's not a Rastafari they say. You understand this, the science. So now, when you assist the truth, even though you know, not the truth, you're a part of the truth. But when you assist the truth to get out, when you assist the gospel to reach to the four corners of the earth, it is as if you are doing the very same work yourself. Because according to you, You can't grab a microphone and do what you do. Oh, I can't, I don't have the time that you have. All of them dead talk there. You understand? And this is why when Moses had his hands up in the air, the children of the Amalekites would lose the battle, and Joshua and the Israelites would win because Moses' arms was up in the air. But when Moses' arms fell down, the Amalekites would prevail over the children of Israel. So Aaron and Hur had to come and assist Moses by keeping his hands up. Follow me good, my love, my family, my beloved. Calling the people that my love. Well, my young princess is right here. But yeah, my beloved, it's love. It is love. It is love that we are dealing with here. Because that's what the message is. You see, let me show you what the problem is with some of us. Because we don't even know our lane. Because I've seen it. Someone comes and I need someone to come and speak to, let's say, I need someone to come and speak to the children at the school about Haile Selassie. Now they know, right? They know that none of them can do the job like the other person. Before they tell the man, hey, we know the perfect person for this job. Let me give him a call. No, they jump up. Oh, yeah, man, I can go and do it. And they go and do it. And it's just a sad, sad situation how we behave. Because we love the limelight. We love the camera. We want the spotlight on us. Cling, cling, cling. Before we just say, hey, call such and such. He can talk about Haile Selassie. He know the thing good. And he can speak and he know how to talk to children. I see him do it already. Yeah. But no, we want to, yeah, man, I can do it. And you can't do it. You're going to jeopardize the case before you call for the right man. See, we don't know Lane. Maybe he can fry dumpling better than others, but he stick to the dumpling frying lane. Stick to the kitchen then. Maybe a master chef. But the man that has the skill to express it to the youths and have the knowledge and can do it, he can do it. Just call him to do it. Call him to do it. When Moses dropped his hand, Aaron didn't say, okay, Moses, sit down. Let me raise my hand and do it. Her didn't say, oh, Moses, boy, you try hard. Don't worry. I will give me the rod. Give me the rod, Moses, and let me raise my hand. No, because none of them could do it. That was not their job. They were not made for that. Some of us, we like to run and jump in front of what don't belong to us before we call the right person to come and do it. So Aaron and Hur assisted Moses. They didn't try to compete with him. They assisted him. They helped him. They know that, hey, when Moses hand up, we win. Moses have the thing going on. So what we going to do? Well, we're going to help Moses to keep his hands up in the air. so that we can win the battle. So in a sense, Moses is like the man on the mountain with the megaphone spreading the gospel. And the man that makes sure that he have a proper megaphone is like Aaron. And the man that makes sure he has the means and ways to get up to the top of the mountain is like her. They are assisting him to make sure he, the key person, can keep his hands up. And this, right, listen to me, good family, because this is a teaching moment. We come here to teach, eh? It's teach, we come to teach. We don't come to entertain, and this is not like we just have a hobby and them kind of things. Eh? Yeah. Teaching moment. So this is why we have the Patrons Day. We got to the next subject. No, it's the same subject. It's Moses are talking about on the hill. This is why we have the Patrons Day. This is why we have a webathon. What a webathon is, let me explain that clearly. A webathon, for those of you who know what a telethon is, remember back in the days you used to have Jerry Lewis and his telethon. Well, anyway, so a webathon or a telethon really is when, you know, obviously people would pledge money, literal finance for a specific cause, whether it be for some charity or something. So big companies and some, but them, none of them things is rip off really. All them things, anything that have too much to do with this charity and charity. But that's a totally different level I'm talking about. But that's what it is. We have done telethons before. We've done telethons when we were on Sun FM whole day, just like today for the whole day. You understand? And that reason was to assist us to keep the program on the air because we had to pay for the airtime. You understand? So that was the reason for that telethon. And that was a wonderful telethon that we did. I don't know if you remember that, Princess. You were quite young at that time, very, very young. Prince was a baby. But anyway, so, but what I'm showing you, family, so that's what it's about. So we did it. It's a webathon. So throughout the day today, you would have been making your pledges or your contributions. Everyone that is a part of this family here. And this is why I say anything you hear me say, it is not for those who don't agree. Because people would say, oh, I don't agree with you, or he's always talking something out of the way. Or, all right. So what I'm saying is not necessarily for you. I'm speaking of those who follow the information and clearly would tell you that this is good information, this is good works, and even those that go as far as to say this is salvation, this has changed my life, this has touched and all of that. I'm very appreciative for all of that. I believe that is what motivates us. But again, family, it's a teaching moment. It is a teaching moment. So you know, as the individual that can say that you have benefited from something of such a degree, you know, we're talking of not just knowledge, but something that reaches to the soul and the spirit. So we now call for a Patreon's Day. We call for a telethon, which is a webathon. We even go as far as to say, well, listen, family, we understand how the situation may be, but I'm sure you can even not contribute. You could even patronize us with $10. Not contribute, patronize. Because all of our books today that were $20 cost $10. All of our documentaries, all of our DVD documentaries, which are now full length documentaries, The Master of Ceremonies, the documentary Seven, The Night of the Black Tiger. How many of you have The Night of the Black Tiger, family? It's only $10 right now. Now, as I'm talking to you, you can get The Night of the Black Tiger for $10. You can get the book Anu for $10. You can get the biblical Land of Israel for $10. I'm not talking of donation. We're not saying throw something in the Cash App family. You know that we pride ourselves in creating quality products. I don't know why some people hate on that. Wow. We don't come begging nobody nothing. Can't you see that? That's such a key point. We create products and bring it to you and say, hey, this is how much it costs. We create services where I am an independent educator, officially. We lecture across the earth. I've lectured in at least 9 universities, family. At least 9 universities. I'm just showing you, don't feel no way. So when you see I do a lecture and say it's $10 for the lecture, and some people be saying some weird things, I say, what's wrong with them people here? This is our work. So in the levels of our work, we I mean, we got to get out of that mentality, family. We're really way behind when we think like this. We are behind. We are just fighting